Hey everybody, welcome to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. I am John Clark along with Ike Reese and Mike Quick, and we're talking about a loss for the first time in like 11 months for the Eagles. When you go into this game in Indianapolis, what are the things that you looked at that they need to fix going into this game?
There's so much talk, guys, about the defense and what they did or didn't do. Not enough talk about the offense, because the offense, they never got into a rhythm. And when you turn the ball over the way this team turned the ball over, and that's out of character for this football team, it's hard to win football games. So much talk about the defense, but the offense, they didn't maintain drives and they turned the football over. Too many penalties. When you have that sort of offense, you're not going to win football games.
Yeah, and Coach Sirianni mentioned this after the game. This was a total team loss here. The best thing the Eagles had done all year was play complementary football. So to Q's point, the offense didn't do their job. Well, I look at the defensive side of the football, and getting off the field on third down was something we struggled with against Washington. If you win early in the downs and then you get Washington behind the sticks, you have a better opportunity to get off the field. 21 third down attempts is a lot of third downs in the game. They converted 12 of them. They started off with 12 of 14 conversions. Get off the field on third down, get your offense the ball back, and get back to playing complementary football. I thought we did a bad job for the first time this year, really, of getting off the field.
Ike's getting that defense right this week, and they gave up 12 third down conversions, the most they've given up in over 30 years. So what are the Eagles going to be facing in Indianapolis? The offense got back on track for the Colts. Here's enemy intel with Greg Cosell, presented by Golden Nugget Jewelers.
When you look at the Indianapolis Colts offense, there's really not a lot of mystery to it. It starts with Jonathan Taylor at running back and the run game. Matt Ryan is back at quarterback, and yes, he's a professional quarterback. He understands defense. He knows where to go with the ball. But if they cannot run the ball with Jonathan Taylor, this offense will have a difficult time. So first down will be a critical down here. Second down, particularly if it's a normal down and distance situation, that's critical. But it's Jonathan Taylor. He needs to be the foundation and the driving force of the Colts offense. And we saw last week, as he's getting back healthy after an ankle injury, what he can do. Not only does he give you the sustaining element to an offense, which is absolutely critical for a team like the Colts, but he also gives you the big play. And that's something the Colts absolutely need, because they don't get a lot of that in the passing game. So let's take a look at this run from a week ago. This speaks to everything we're talking about. It's a zone run, and that's absolutely their foundation. That's what they do with Jonathan Taylor. You can see it's kind of a mid-zone, inside zone type run, and you can see that it's really well blocked, particularly by the right side of the Colts offensive line. Right guard Will Fries, right tackle Braden Smith. The single block is by the left guard Quentin Nelson, who does a great job here. But watch the right side wash everything down and create a lane for Jonathan Taylor. And as I said, he's an explosive back, so what happens? He erases the angle of the deep safety, and he takes it to the house. That's what this offense is. So the key for the Eagles, you must get the Colts in third and long. That's where they will struggle. But if they can't stop Jonathan Taylor on early downs, could become a very, very interesting game.
All right, we saw the Eagles give up over 150 yards rushing. They gave up 168 in Houston. Steelers got him for a lot. So now Jonathan Taylor, he's going to be facing this Eagles run defense. What do the Eagles have to do differently against him?
Well, I'll tell you what, coming off this game versus Washington, your initial reaction will be, well, man, they didn't play that well versus the run. 50 rushing attempts, 150 plus yards. Well, that's barely over 3 yards per carry. As a defense, you would take that. So the amount of rushing attempts has to be included into this equation. And what I think the Eagles need to do, continue to do coming off last week's game, is win at the point of attack on the defensive line, your line of scrimmage. You watched last week versus Washington. Here's a great example of, watch how Fletcher gets off the ball, gets into the offensive lineman's chest. He's reestablishing the line of scrimmage. As a matter of fact, he's on the other side of the line of scrimmage here. Milton Williams does a great job here at the point of attack, being stout. You watch on the outside, Robert Quinn setting the edge here. So what this does for us as a defense is, it allows our secondary defenders to have clearly defined defined roles in this defense. So what I mean by that, you're going to get TJ Edwards, Josiah Scott right here, TJ pressing the line of scrimmage, helping to make this tackle here. This is all possible because at the point of attack on the D-line, they're very stout. Fletcher, Milton Williams, you got Robert Quinn on the outside. This is what they need to continue to do this week versus Jonathan Taylor. Again, I understand 50 rushing attempts against them last week versus Washington, but barely over 3 yards per carry. As a defense, you'll take that every time. What we need to just continue to do is make sure that our secondary defenders are able to get in there and make the tackles when the D-line is doing their job up front.
Eagles Game Plan is brought to you by your local Tri-State Toyota dealers, proud automotive partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy. Pepsi, Eagles watching, better with Pepsi. PA Lottery, there's a lot of love for the PA Lottery, and when you see how fun it is, you'll understand why.
What's the prognosis for Dallas, and how do you plan on placing him?
Yeah, it's not going to be easy to replace Dallas, and not just one person does it. So we'll see how long he's out. Obviously, you guys know he's got to be out for at least 4 games, and we'll see. We'll play that by ear as that goes. So how do we replace him? Right, you can't. Right, and so you got to do it by committee. Right, and so you have tight ends that are there that we have a lot of faith in this building, that are going to have to. They'll start with them. Then it goes to, where some of his targets goes. They probably a couple of them go to AJ, probably a couple of them go to Devontae, and then you have backs that get intertwined in that, slot receivers that get intertwined with that, with Quez, and so we'll I know we got guys in this building that I got a lot of faith in though.
All right, there's Nick Sirianni talking about Dallas Goedert. Dallas is going to miss some time. That is a really big loss. I mean, nobody has more yards after the catch for any tight end in the NFL. What are they going to miss? Not just him catching the ball, but also his blocking.
I can go back to 2001. Ike Reese got hurt in the game. And I remember talking to John Harbaugh and asking him who would replace Ike. And he talked about 3 different people. That's the type of guy that Dallas Goedert is. You're not going to be able to replace him with just one person. You're going to have to take a group of guys because he does so many things. Inline blocker. They have him on the wham plays where he's trapping a tackle coming up the field. He does so many things, not even to mention the way he catches the football and the run after the catch.
Well, I never thought I'd be mentioned in the same class with Dallas Goedert.
And 3 people to replace him. That's impressive.
That's what it takes.
That's pretty good.
It takes a village.
Thank you for reminding everybody, Mike. But in all seriousness, that's just the caliber of player that Dallas is. He means an awful lot to this offense. When we talk about complete tight ends in this game, he can't be labeled as a receiving tight end or a blocking tight end. He does it all. As important as he is in the passing game, he's just that important in the running game as well. And now I'm talking about backside blocks, I'm talking about front side blocks where he's the lead blocker at times, depending on the scheme. So not having Dallas in the offense, obviously it's gonna hurt from a production standpoint, but it also creates opportunities for other guys, and it's not just going to be one guy. Like Mike said, you're going to need multiple players to be able to replicate what Dallas means to this offense. And the coaches got a little bit of a challenge here. I think they're going to sort of embrace this because it gives them an opportunity to be creative on that side of the football as well.
Yeah, and they're going to Indianapolis. They're going to face a Colts defense that's playing a little better now. What are we going to see out of this Colts D? Here's Greg Cosell with Enemy Intel, presented by Golden Nugget Jewelers.
This week, the Eagles offense will play against a Colts defense that actually has been pretty solid this season. They have good players at all 3 levels: defensive line, linebacker, and on the back end. And Gus Bradley is their defensive coordinator. It's his first year, but he's been in the NFL for a long time, and there's a definite way in which he likes to play. Gus Bradley is a single high safety defensive coordinator. So you have one deep safety, and then you also have the other safety who tends to be a box player. So you get the box count that favors you in the run game. And we know that while the Eagles throw the ball exceptionally well on first down, this is an offense that also likes to run the ball on first down and does it well. And our old friend Rodney McLeod is a critical piece of the Colts defense. He's their strong safety. Now, oftentimes he lines up in the box in Gus Bradley's single high safety cover 3 defenses. But other times, he enters the box from the back end, and he's very good when he does that, playing the run. He plays downhill extremely well. He's a savvy defender, as you see here against the Las Vegas Raiders a week ago. McLeod has been doing this kind of thing all season long. As I said, whether he's already in the box or whether he enters the box as the 8th defender. So this will be a challenge for the Eagles offense. While the Colts don't have a great record, they do have a defense that at times can stop you from doing what you want to do. So this will be a challenging game for the Philadelphia Eagles offense.
All right, if the Colts have that extra man down in the box, could be Rodney McLeod, by the way. Mike, how do you beat that?
Simply put, it's option football, and the Eagles are really good at option football. You know, Jalen Hurts is one of the best in the business at knowing when to give it to his halfback, when to hold on to it. And you're right, the Colts, they like to have that extra guy in the box. But when you watch this play, pre-snap, it's 5-on-6. But post-snap, when you see the blockers engage, once they've declared, you've got Jalen Hurts with the football and you've got his running back. But on the other side of the ball, you see one defender that has to determine if he's going to get the quarterback or if he's going to get the halfback. It's Jalen Hurts' job to prove him wrong. If he takes the halfback, he's going to hold the ball. If he takes Hurts, he's going to give the ball. That's what the Eagles are so good at. And if you watch this play as it rolls out, he's going to fake to the halfback. He's going to keep it, and you see it for a nice game. That's what the Eagles do so very well. When you bring that extra man in the box, the best way to beat that is option football, giving your quarterback choices.
Yeah, and when you have a point guard like Jalen Hurts making the decisions, he's been so great at doing that this year. The defense can't be right. If you decide, like Hugh said, to stay with the running back, then Jalen's going to keep it and run it up the middle. They ran this exact same play, read the defender decided, okay, I'm going to stick with Jalen this time. Jalen gives the ball to Miles Sanders. He gets to the outside, is able to beat the linebacker around the edge for a nice game. When they're operating with this type of efficiency and the quarterback is so sound with his decision-making, it just makes it difficult for a defense to figure out how do you stop this running game.
You have a quarterback that's so talented at running the football, it really puts the defense in a quandary.
And Miles Sanders has been taking advantage of any of his opportunities this year, averaging 5 yards a rush. He is doing really well. Do you lean on him a little bit more with Dallas Goedert out?
No doubt about it. And Miles Sanders has the type of talent that it's not an afterthought, right? Get him the ball enough, and eventually he's going to break a big one. The thing that I love about the way Miles has ran the ball this year is that if the play is only there for 3 yards, 4 yards, he'll accept that. He'll take the 3 yards to 4 yards, you come back again, and eventually he's going to break one. In years past, I thought he was always looking for the home run play. This year, he's been a lot more patient. He's trust his blocking up front. He's running behind his pads. I think he's playing the best football of his career.
All right, welcome back to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. And one thing about the Eagles offensive line and their running game, whenever they decide to run the ball, especially in the second half, they're always able to do it. And one of the big guys on that line caught up with Fran Duffy for some tape study. Here is Isaac Seumalo. This is presented by Chickies and Pete's.
Well, please be joined here by Eagles offensive lineman Isaac Seumalo to go through some film here from earlier in the season. Isaac, thanks so much for joining us, man. Excited to jump into this tape.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate y'all having me.
It's 2nd down and 8. He's back again. He's looking. He is going deep for Quez Watkins, who has it and goes in for the touchdown. He hit him in stride for 53 yards.
But it all begins up front. That offensive line giving him all the time that he needs. This is just outstanding football.
Yeah, I mean, there's 5 big guys on the line, so we're going to put our 5 big guys on their 5 big guys.
Sure.
Which makes everybody one-on-one in pass protection. The biggest thing for us is that we all have similar set lines to be able to pass off games and then also be able to work together with all this good stuff.
From a technique standpoint, when you're on an island like this, is there anything special, or is it going to be you're trusting your basic coaching points?
I think, it always comes down to down and distance, personnel, who is this guy and what does he like to do?
Yep.
But at the end of the day, we fall back on our training and our preparation and not ever deviating too far from that.
Hurts gives it off to Sanders, to the 5, in for the touchdown goes Miles Sanders.
Offensive line controlling the line of scrimmage, Merrill. Lane Johnson on that right side, and then you get Jason Kelsey pulling around. Sayamalu, just an outstanding job of blocking up front.
The big thing first off is Kelsey getting us all on the right track. You know, making the point that this safety's coming down and that's gonna be our point, which makes the backside know that they gotta get to 23. But the biggest two blocks really is the front side tackle being able, what we call displacement, and then me and Kelsey are working together. And anytime we can get Kelsey out in space and running, it's usually a good play.
So for most teams, right? I mean, your center's not going to be able to necessarily pull out to get this way, right? So that's the strength of having a guy with that kind of versatility.
For sure, man. I mean, Kelsey allows us to do about anything we want, and you know, the rest of us do our job. Usually turns out pretty good for us.
Once again, it's kind of like you overcoach him because if he went outside, he scored. You know, I can't tell he's about to cut him. It's the same with the quick hop. Be ready for it to come on the opposite side. Be ready for the pirate on the backside.
So the word on the street is that this goes to Jason Kelsey and Jeff Stoutland have like just legendary like football X and O talks like late at night in the meeting room, and you're the only one that is like on their level. Is that's the word on the street? I can't speak for it from experience, but where's that come from in terms of your like football intelligence and your love for the game?
You know, obviously, you know, I think being gifted that way is just like a genetic thing.
Yep.
You know, football IQ has always been something that's come pretty naturally to me, and being able to understand a whole lot real quickly and then apply it very quickly. So I enjoy being around Kelsey and Stoutland in that aspect of being able to have the mental capability and then also the physical capacity to kind of execute, you know, what we're talking about quickly and, you know, efficiently.
So the Eagles have to be one of the leading teams in the NFL at this point. QB sneaks and the effectiveness here. Just taking this is the opening drive against Arizona. What happens in this scrum in here? Like, take us inside. What happens here at the bottom of the pile?
You know, it's crazy because we actually go into a lot of detail into these plays that last, I mean, less than 2 seconds. You know what I mean?
Right.
In terms of surfacing, in terms of, you know, maybe cadence, or I want to give too much away on these because we're so good at them, but. I mean, the biggest thing with most plays is pad level, you know what I mean? And if guys are gonna submarine, it makes it tough, but if you can keep driving your feet and give the quarterback a chance, it usually works out.
Hey, welcome back to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota, and you're facing a Colts team that seems a little re-energized, a little more connected now with Jeff Saturday. When you look at this matchup, where can the Eagles win against the Colts?
Well, you know that a Gus Bradley defense, they like to play a lot of cover 1. They like to play a lot of cover 3. So the wide receivers on the outside, I think it should be a day for those wide receivers. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. I think these two guys playing against those corners, throwing the ball on the outside should be the way to attack this defense.
And A.J. Brown, very familiar with going to Indianapolis, had a $155 his last trip there. What are you looking at?
Yeah, Q talked about taking advantage of certain things. Well, this defense needs to take advantage when Matt Ryan is forced to throw the football. Matt Ryan under pressure this year, one of the worst, if not the worst quarterback when it comes to taking care of the football. 7 interceptions under pressure. So when Jonathan Gannon decides to dial up a little pressure, then we're going to need to take advantage of it on the back end. Yep. We are a very opportunistic defense. Got 2 turnovers last week. We need to keep that going on the road in Indy.
Eagles trying to respond to their first loss, hitting the road. Eagles versus Colts. Thanks for watching Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. He's Ike Reese. He's Mike Quick. I'm John Clark. Enjoy the game. Eagles Game Plan is brought to you by your local tri-state Toyota dealers. Proud automotive partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy. Pepsi, Eagles watching, better with Pepsi. PA Lottery, there's a lot of love for the PA Lottery, and when you see how fun it is, you'll understand why.